Good day and welcome to a week at the plot. It's Tuesday afternoon, and as you can see, I've been removing the runner beans and the bamboo canes. I did it a bit sort of back to front, really, removing some of those canes, because as you may have seen, they all sort of fell down at the end. Fortunately, none of them broke, which is great. But yeah, I basically cut the beans down to the ground, or almost to the ground. You can see here there's still a bit of stalk there, and left the roots in, because what I've decided is that this is going to be a bed that some of the Portuguese cabbage are going to go into. So beans and peas, they grow nodules of nitrogen on their roots, and of course brassicas like nitrogen. So leaving the roots in, that nitrogen will effectively act as a slow release fertilizer as it breaks down on the roots. So that will feed the Portuguese cabbage. What there is in here is quite a bit of bindweed, and there's still sancfoil in here. So I've put everything onto a pile over there, as you can see. You can also see in this shot the areas that really do need to be sorted and covered in cardboard again. But yeah, the reason that I've put the runner beans over here is because, I'm not sure if I can see any, maybe they're underneath. There was a hot infestations of aphids. Oh, I think you can see, oh yeah, can you see there? Black fly. Look at that, see? So we had mealybugs on the brassicas last week, and this week we've got aphids, black fly on the runner beans. But the reason I put these here is I'm going to turn them over the next couple of days before I chop them up and put them into a compost bin. Very noisy parakeet rather. Because, did I see one here? Yeah, look, there's a really good amount of ladybirds in here. So what I want to happen is really for the ladybirds to continue eating the black fly, but the black fly, because these are going to start dying now, will start dying off. So the ladybirds will most probably go elsewhere when their food source starts being depleted. So yeah, I'm just going to turn this so that the ladybirds can fly away. I'll most probably turn it every day for a week and then put it into a perennial weed compost bin, simply because of the amount of bindweed and sancfoil in there. What's also in here are quite a lot of shield bugs. You can see one there. I think that is a southern shield bug, and they do get quite big. Look at that one. You see that one there? You can see why they're called a shield bug, because that literally looks like a shield, doesn't it? There's another ladybird there. So yeah, these are, I'm sure that is the species that has come over from South America, southern green shield bug, yeah. But they go through a sort of funny colour changes. I'm not sure that dark green one that we just saw is, but yeah, I'm going to just leave that there. What I am enjoying is the sight of this rose in bloom. There's a fly in there, but I didn't expect it. It's a beautiful rose. I should take a cutting. If I come over here, you can see they come up with a pink, sort of pink tinge to begin with. Can you see that? I'm not sure you can. Oh no, if that wasn't in the way. No, they got a pink tinge, and then they go to this sort of glorious colour here. But yeah, I'm enjoying that, but that is getting quite old now and it really needs a good prune. Anyway, that's my, oh, look at this, just look at it, look at that, glorious. Right, let's just pop in the shed briefly. Bye ladybirds. It's just coming up to 10 to 5 and I need to get back to my desk because I'm speaking to Vanessa at 5. But to round off today, I just wanted to thank everyone for their comments on last week's video where we had the Brassica massacre. And Ronald gave me some tips on a spray that he uses. And of course, many people suggested using soapy water, which one can do. I've used grazers in the past, so I might do that as well. But what I did use was neem oil diluted in water with a little bit of washing up liquid. And it seems to have largely done the job, particularly on the, or in fact, I've done the job on all of them. But there is one Portuguese cabbage that still seems to be suffering. So I've got some more spray here. So I'm going to give it a quick spray before I go. Yeah, and you know, fingers crossed, lots to do here. think I've sourced some cardboard, so that's really good because I don't quite have enough cardboard. But I think today is going to be taking things out day. It's going to be, not this week, the tomatoes. Even though we're getting a good spell of relatively warm weather, we're not getting ripening tomato sunshine and warmth. So I think a lot of those are going to be picked green, and you know what we're going to use them for. Green tomato curry, we'll make it. I actually made a green tomato and green lentil curry the other night. I'm going to need to do it again and just tweak it, but that was really, really lovely. So we've got the green tomato, potato and pea curry, but this one, which was green tomato and green lentil curry, has obviously got more protein in it because of the lentils, and it really was rather lovely. As I say, a little bit of tweaking, and then I think we'll be sharing that recipe. I did do it in the Instant Pot, so I also need to do a batch on the hob to see how it works on the hob, but I'm sure it'll work absolutely fine. But yeah, so we're going to be taking the tomatoes out this week as well. That will be in a few days' time, because I think I've got another, for Earth's sake, day that I need to get under my belt this week before I can start doing more work down here. I just wanted to get those beans out, because then that's a job done, isn't it? Job done. I also have received the link for A Guernsey Gardener in London, the September one, which came out last Saturday, the 1st of October. And it came out because there was a delay because of the Queen's death. So yeah, it was shunted a couple of weeks. But I will put a link to that relatively shortly on all of our social media as well. But I'm going to leave it there for now. It's now coming up to 5 to 5. Going to go home, pour myself a cup of tea, then give Vanessa a call. See you very soon. Bye. Good day. We're in Aston Rowant Wood and had a really good walk. And then we're just passing this tree, which has got an arrow on it telling us which way to go. And then down here, there's a lot of fungus growing, which means that maybe the tree is dying. And then when we look up here, look at the fungus and the bark crisping off the tree. Fungus right up to the top. quite amazing. And that arrow tells us the way that we're going to be going. That was a really lovely walk we had this morning. It really, really was. Much needed for us to get out of London as well. I think we both needed that. And it was fabulous seeing that fungus, fungi, mushrooms growing up that tree, which is clearly dead or dying. Yeah, so the is it the hypha? They're the sort of white roots that you see on fungi. They are clearly spreading through that tree as a sort of, is it mycelium network, something like that? And they will break down, they'll give out enzymes. The hypha will give out enzymes which will break down the wood, basically. So I think at some point, I'm not sure whether it's English Heritage that look after that or the National Trust that look after that, but that tree will have to come down because it will weaken and weaken and weaken as the fungus rot the tree away, rot the wood down, break the wood down with the enzymes of the hypha. So yeah, it was, what a find. I've never seen that before. I decided to come down and I was going to pot up the cuttings of geraniums that we took from Mum's patio quite a few months ago. Was that back in July? I think my birthday, I think we took those. And as I came down here, obviously I bumped into a few people and had a really good chat. But as I came down here, I can see that the tomato bed really needs to be sorted. So I am going to sort it. What I may do is I'm going to be picking all the green fruit off and any ripe fruit. I've got my mushroom baskets which I use to put fruit in. I've also just picked a courgette. So yeah, I'm going to pick the green fruit and the ripe fruit. There's not very much ripe fruit. But what I really have found, and I know that everyone's going to come up with their ideas of ripening green fruit. What I have found is that this green fruit that we have been taking off is really not wanting to ripen. It's been sitting in a bowl together so that the gas that it gives off is going to benefit the ripening, but most of them are not ripening. So they will be going into green tomato curry. I did try a green tomato and lentil curry the other day and it was good but needs tweaking. Have I said that? I think I may have done. So once we've got that recipe right, then we'll share that. It's not far off. But yeah, so I'm just going to go out there because let me show you the tomatoes. They're all beginning, the plants are all beginning to look a bit sad. Yeah, if you look at the leaves here, you can see quite a few are sort of really going crinkled with the cold at night. So I'm going to be taking these down. The new growth at the top up here is fine, but we're not going to get anything off that. So yeah, it's time to get these out. So you can just about maybe see one ripening here and one ripening here, and there's another one just off camera here that is ripening. Those will actually ripen up. They're taking some colour on and they will ripen up. Even up here there's one which is beginning to take some colour. What I'm finding is when I'm picking them like this or like this, they really are not ripening. And it doesn't matter whether we do the brown bag with the bananas, just put them on the windowsill, they are not ripening. So yeah, I'm just going to crack on and sort this bed out. And as you can see, the sun is now out. Let's hope it stays out because it's lovely in the sun and I'll be able to take my hoodie off. I'm just going to crack on and do these and then we'll see the hopefully empty bed afterwards. half an hour later and job done. I'm actually leaving the frame in over here, and I'm leaving the dangly string because I think that will be off-putting for any pigeons that might want to have a go at this Portuguese Cabbage Nero di Toscana cross. So yeah, I'm leaving that in purposefully at the moment. I'm also leaving in all the weeds purposefully here, because I'll do those another day, and take out some verbascum and see if I can actually pot it up. Fingers crossed. Let's have a look at the harvest that we have got. There we have it. Over here, these are all taking on some colour. Some have got a lot more colour than others, but these are taking on colour, and I know that these put on our windowsill will ripen. All of these over here, which is, I don't know how many kilos, but I couldn't carry this full. I had to move it first and then pile more on top, and then pile more here, as you can see. These will all either be prepped and frozen, so they'll be cut up and frozen, or they'll be made into a green tomato curry, and then that green tomato curry will be frozen. And I reckon out of all of these, we'd most probably get 30 portions, maybe. Yeah, maybe even more. I'll sort of work it out once I actually weigh them. But these are going to stay in the shed for today, and these are going to come home with me. Just going to pop into the shed now and show you something that I found whilst I was harvesting all these and emptying the beds out. A job I hadn't expected to do, but a job that I got on and did, and clearly there was also a background reason for it that I didn't know at the time. And that is that once I'd harvested all the tomatoes and started taking the strings down and started taking some of the plants out, I noticed that two of the plants, you see that here, two of the plants had developed blight right next to each other. Two plants right next, well, you know, side by side, about 1.5 feet apart, had developed blight. So it's a good thing that I did take the tomato plants out today, because blight can spread so swiftly. Even though it's not raining at the moment, I think we're due some rain, but it's not raining at the moment. The dampness in the morning that we get can you know, evaporate, and that can help spread blight. So I'm glad I did what I did today, not only because it has saved much of our harvest, because even though those are green tomatoes, they're food, they're a harvest, you know, and no chutney for us. Those are main meals for us. So not only has it saved that, but taking them out today, because I've looked at other plot holders' tomatoes, one of them does have blight, and my plot neighbour here, our adorable neighbours here, they don't, and I certainly don't want my tomatoes to put blight onto their tomatoes, because their tomatoes are still ripening pretty strongly. So yeah, I'm glad I've done that. And all of this, including that stalk that I've just shown you, are going to go into our pallet compost bin, because blight does not live on dying and dead matter. It needs live matter. So once it goes into the compost bin and starts decomposing, there will be no blight. So yeah, there we are. So that's it for today. Another job that I hadn't expected to do. Certainly I hadn't expected to do it when we were at Aston Rowant. As we were driving back, I was thinking, oh, nice quiet hour, maybe half an hour at the plot this afternoon, just potting up geraniums from the cuttings. Oh, that would be rather nice. Hopefully it'll be sun, and the sun will be coming into the polytunnel. And then, yeah, you know, had to sort out those 2 beds of tomatoes. There's still one other bed, the Guernsey tomato bed, to sort, and I will do that tomorrow, because I don't have time or energy to do it today. Right, I will see you very soon. Any questions about blight or tomatoes, please do put them down below. If you've got any recipes for green tomato chutney, please keep them to yourselves. We don't like chutney, and also chutney, the vinegariness of it isn't good for my Barrett's esophagus, so I don't have chutney. It's a shame because I used to love piccalilli, absolutely love it, but no, not for me anymore. Right, I'm going. See you soon. Bye. Oh, and I did take my hoodie off. Look, it was warm enough to take the hoodie off. Bye. Good day. It's rather a breezy but sunny afternoon. And yeah, I'm sort of in short sleeves. I've got a long sleeve top on, but I've rolled them up. And I've decided that where we took out the tomatoes earlier in the week, I'm going to be putting in our Portuguese cabbage that we've got in the grow house. These that I've sprayed are doing okay. No pigeon damage on these yet. But as I said before, I'm not going to put any more brassicas in here because there may be infestations of aphids in the soil. And then turnips here, which are doing okay. And then over here on the right will be our garlic bed, and on the left will be broad beans. And what I also started doing the other day when I was down here is just pulling some weeds here to see how difficult or not they are going to be. So I think that's something I'll get on with next weekend. And I think if we just go over here to the runner beans, I have had a good shufty through, and there are still a few ladybirds. You see there? Oh, I didn't mean to spring him or her. So I'm just going to turn these again and not put them into the compost bin for the moment. We'll look at that area tomorrow, including my shadow. Looks quite ominous, in fact. Right, I'm just going to get on with these. Let's just have a look at them in the grow house. You can see how bright it is, gloriously bright. Let me just undo the top. Yeah, so it's time they went in. They're actually pretty sturdy, but to grow on they really need to go in the ground and get lots of wind. So in the ground they're going to go. We'll have a look at them in a moment. Well, half an hour maybe. Half an hour later and the job is done. So these are Portuguese cabbage planted up, about 1.5 feet in between each. So I plant sort of in a zigzag, if you see what I mean, because then you can space things out better. And I hope these do well. They've gone in maybe an inch or so a bit deeper than they were in their modules. And of course what I'm going to do now is give them a really good water. Just nudging in, I think you can just see here on the other bed is a cutting, and over here a smaller cutting that we took from this Nero di Toscana stroke Portuguese cabbage cross. And it'll be interesting to see how they do. There's another 5 Portuguese cabbage on the other side of this plant, and as I still had some Portuguese cabbage left, I did what I said I wasn't going to do, and I planted them into this bed. So you can most probably just see a few down this side here. I think there's about 8 or 9 in these 2 beds. I thought as I've got them I might as well do that. I have offered them out to other people here, and they either have their own Portuguese cabbage or are already winding down their plots or have sown for the winter, or planted up rather for the winter. So yeah, waste not, want not, they've gone into these 2 beds, and we will see how they do. As I say, both of these now are going to get a really good water, or all 4 of these beds in fact, a really good water. I don't think we've got any serious rain coming until potentially Friday, so these are going to need a bit of water as we go through the week. Yeah, must put that into my diary. So that is it for this week's A Week at the Plot. I haven't watered those yet, but I am going to water them when I have finished with this video, because what you really don't want is the root ball, the compost that the root ball is sitting in at the moment, or the compost forms part of the root ball, is really quite damp. So you want to make sure that when you put something like that into the ground, or really with anything, that you give everything a really good water, because you want the compost, the root ball that you've put into the hole that you've made, to marry up and get to know the soil around it, because you want those roots to really travel laterally as well as down, so that the brassicas in particular root themselves in, and they really sort of wedge themselves, because they can suffer from windrock. In fact, one of the Portuguese cabbage that I left in on the other plot, the other day I had to put a rebar next to it, because when I came down it had blown over in the wind. So yeah, it was top heavy, because I'd taken lower leaves off, it was top heavy with leaf and it had fallen over. But yeah, I'm hopeful that those will grow on and then give us decent crops in sort of late April, May, something like that, where the other brassicas, we had expected that whole bed to give us good harvest through to about March, April next year. So what we're trying to do now is fill in that hungry gap of sort of late April, May into the beginning of the June. And it's even a sort of longer gap now, because so many of those brassicas were lost to mealybugs and aphids. But hey, never mind. So I know a few jobs I'm going to be doing next week. Some of it is seed saving, and some of it is harvesting, some of it is tidying. I think after I've got certain things done next week, there's going to be a lot of tidying, and it's going to be mainly tidying and covering beds and that type of thing. But you know what, we can wait for that to come. One thing I did want to just bring you up to date with is something that happened yesterday. It was absolutely lovely. I said to you earlier in the year that the charity of William Hobbain, which has been around since 1484 and is the charity that owns both this allotment and our sister community garden site and other green spaces around us, it won a Queen's Medal for Voluntary Services. So the charity itself, all the good that they do, they keep themselves very much under the radar, but do so much good in the local area. William Hobbain gave the land in W7, what is now W7, Hobbain Ward, and the charity has really remained very, very local for, you know, what's that? That's coming up to 550 years, something like that, just shy of 550 years, and they do so much good. You know, they really, really do. I can't applaud them enough. Anyway, I was invited along with various other people who do quite a lot around here with the charity yesterday to a sort of afternoon tea at our local community hall, and it was lovely. And I went in and there was sort of lots of sandwiches and cakes and everything looked so fabulous. Lots of tables out, lots of people I knew, some people I didn't know, and the Queen's Lieutenant was there as well, and the Mayoress and councillors. It was really, and trustees of the charity of course. And it was just a really lovely afternoon. And after various speeches, it was announced that some badges as individual awards were being given out. And I thought, oh, that's lovely. You know, it's nice that people are being recognised. That's lovely. Little did I know that I was going to be one of the people who was lucky enough to receive the badge. I mean, it's so cute. I'm not sure if you can see that. So it says on it the Queen's Award for Voluntary Services, and it's a lovely ceramic badge. It really is. And about 20 or so of these were given out, and I was fortunate enough to be one of the individuals that was awarded with one, and I'm so grateful. It's so lovely. I mean, I feel so privileged to be on this site. I feel so privileged to have been on the community gardens, and so privileged to have been connected with the charity for quite a long time. And it was just lovely to receive this award yesterday and see so many others that I know, a few on this site, but others that I know in the local community being awarded for the voluntary service work that they do for the charity, which is a vast array of voluntary work. It really is, from voluntary social care advice through to, you know, keeping on top of growing spaces and green spaces. So many things. So yeah, I feel quite privileged, and of course it's an honor for the allotment as well. That's absolutely super. So yeah, there we are. A completely unexpected happening yesterday that was absolutely delightful. There are going to be some photos, so I'll share those on Planet Vegetaria when they become available. And yeah, I'll be back next week with further segments of the week at the plot as we go through the week, and back in a week's time on YouTube for a further full upload of a week at the plot. And now I'm just going to say hello to a plot neighbour who's just arrived. But before that, I better go and do the watering of those brassicas. See you very soon. Bye.